Coming up on today's show, I teamed up with my coworker, Moose, who covers the Broncos here at Chat Sports, and we took a deep dive into this game, giving you the injury report, some good news and some bad news for Big Blue, as well as keys to victory, and he even talks about ways he thinks the Giants can win this game. If you want that to happen, if you want to get to 3-1 in the Jackson Dart era, hit that thumbs up icon right now. Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Marshall Green. I host our Giants channel here at Chat Sports, joined by my guy, Trace Moustakis, who hosts our Broncos channel here. And with the game just a couple of days away, thought it'd be a good idea to talk through this one from both sides. I'm excited for this one, Moose. A lot of storylines. I know you're confident about your Broncos in this one.
First of all, Marsh, thanks for having me on the show. This is going to be on both Giants now and the Broncos breakdown. It is going to be one hell of a matchup. Bo Nix versus Jackson Dart, two young guns going head-to-head. But I really don't think that the main storyline are these quarterbacks.
No.
I think it's all defense all the time because you've got two stud defensive lines going head-to-head against each other. By the way, also fun fact, two of the most penalized teams in the entire NFL going head-to-head against each other. Let's talk injury reports first. I know Broncos fans have kind of boasted over the last couple of years that we're a team that never gets injured. Well, we've started to see a couple of injuries here coming in. Dre Greenlaw named to keep an eye on this week. Could he come back after not playing a single game this entire season? Jonah Ellis, one of those young up-and-coming edge rushers for the Denver Broncos. He's most likely not going to play. The one on this list that I think needs to be mentioned for sure is already ruled out because he's on IR, Matt Peart.
Once a Giant, always a Giant.
That's exactly right. Or as some would say, never a Giant. But in my opinion, this was a play last week that Sean Payton completely botched up. Peart's a tackle, and they played him at guard. It was reported that he injured his knee on the third play of the game and then stuck it out for the rest of the game, and everyone was like, what a hero. But then I looked at that and said, the coaching staff has to take him out because he had 3 penalties and then came back with a 29.4 PFF grade against the gosh darn New York Jets. So it wasn't that great of a performance. You should see either Alex Palczewski or Calvin Throckmorton starting at that left guard position.
I was going to ask you, as we know, both of these teams have extremely strong defensive lines. I think both of us would say a key to victory is getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. With the Broncos a little bit dinged up, Matt Peart not playing this week, who do you think is going to slide into that spot, and what's really your confidence level for this Broncos O-line?
Well, going back to last week against the Jets, after Ben Powers, their starting left guard, goes out with a bicep injury. He's out until December. I thought it would be Alex Palczewski for sure. He's kind of like a swing tackle, but can also play a little bit of guard, can play a little center, can kind of play everywhere on that offensive line. And when they started Peart, I was kind of like, what? And then obviously, Peart had his struggles. He's now on IR, so I do believe that it is going to be Alex Palczewski, but they did activate Calvin Throckmorton from the practice squad, so it could be a combination. They've kind of left it open-ended, and Sean Payton kind of declined to comment. He said, we'll have a game plan going in against the Giants on Sunday.
Okay, so that's a spot where I feel like the Giants have to capitalize. I don't ever want to celebrate injuries, but somewhat good news for the Giants. Dexter Lawrence, a little bit of a slow start for his standards this year. Expect to see him try to take advantage of that matchup. We've also seen Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator for the Giants, move in Brian Burns and Abdul Carter to go up on these interior offensive linemen. So maybe something we'll see on that front. Players we might not see for the Giants this weekend, Darius Slayton might end up missing his second game in a row. He did not practice on Wednesday, still dealing with a hamstring injury. And the Giants are a little bit thin at the receiver spot. And there's been a lot of trade rumors going around. I don't know if a trade happens before Sunday. And if it does, I don't know if that player will play. Some other players that did not practice, Deonte Banks on Wednesday, personal reason. Congrats to him and the Banks family. They welcomed twins into this planet, so shout out to them. Swayze Bosman did not participate. Demetrius Flanagan fouls. And the other one I'm extremely worried about is John Michael Schmitz, the starting center for the New York Giants. He is in concussion protocol. And kind of the same thing for the Broncos. Giants a little bit dinged up on the offensive line, going up against a very fearsome pass rush. Expect to see Austin Schlottman if he is Jameis unable to go. And Moose, I'm going to be honest with you, I am extremely scared about this Denver pass rush and the pressure that they're able to create and potentially get after Jackson Dart.
Look, I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. We are looking at one of the best pass rushes I think the game has ever seen. And I don't want to be hyperbolic when I say this. This could be a pass rush, maybe not a defense as a whole, but a pass rush that equals or is greater than the 85 Bears, currently on pace to break the NFL record for sacks in a single season, highlighted by the big three right now being Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, who's playing like the defensive player of the year, and of course, Zach Allen on that defensive line. Vance Joseph is a defensive coordinator that loves to be aggressive, especially when it comes to young quarterbacks. One thing I will note, Jackson Dart, as I'm sure that you've told Giants fans and they're aware of, is very good against the blitz. So it's one of those things that maybe you don't necessarily blitz nearly as much considering how he can pick them apart, but it is going to be very interesting to see how a 4 or 5 man pass rush can go up against this young gun of Jackson Dart, but also with Cam Skattebo, who I believe is the secret sauce right now for the New York Giants, especially against a Denver defense that is not as good against the run.
Yeah, if the Giants are going to have success on Sunday, it's trying to stay out of those 3rd and long situations, because if you're going to let Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen, and all of the different pass rushers that the Broncos have just pin their ears back on 3rd down, let Vance Joseph dial up those exotic blitzes, the Giants are not going to have a lot of success. So that comes back to Cam Skattebo. That comes back to being able to run the football. The Giants need to create positive yards on 1st down so they can operate in 2nd and manageable, so they can operate in 3rd and manageable. And hopefully that means the Denver Broncos will try to stack the box on early downs. If they don't, let's go take our 3.5 yards every single time with Cam Skattebo. Then if they do decide to stuff the box, maybe we could take some shots down the field. I am extremely intrigued to see how they're able to run the football, and if they decide to use Jackson Dart's legs as a part of that equation. I'm sure everybody saw on Thursday night, Jackson Dart goes into the medical tent, then Cam Skattebo, and then Brian Dable, and maybe there's been some talk about him limiting hits, but if the Giants are going to have success, Moose, against your Broncos, they have to run the football.
Well, where I'll give you guys a little bit of an edge here, and this is some insider information, is that the Denver Broncos don't have that great of a middle linebacker unit right now, especially without Dre Greenlaw for the entirety of the year. Even if he plays, you're expecting a limited snap count, right, because he has not taken the field. So you're looking at right now a combination of Alex Singleton, who might be a very good pressure player at the line of scrimmage, terrible dropping back in pass coverage. And then Justin Stranad, who admittingly has had a really good start to the season, but also plays a lot like Singleton. He's more of a pass rushing type of backer, loves to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage. So if you can kind of attack that middle of the field, both with Cam Skattebo and with Jackson Dart throwing the football, I'm going to be completely honest, you can move the football on the Denver Broncos. And I think we've seen that even though at times this Broncos secondary has looked elite and sticky in coverage, there have been multiple plays where they give up big-time playmaking, big-time plays, especially against former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, now on the Indianapolis Colts.
A lot of man coverage I saw run by the Denver Broncos this year. Obviously, you have Pat Surtain, one of the best in the business, if not the best. Not the deepest unit, I would say, at corner, but they find a way to make plays on 3rd down as they get stops nearly 72.8% of the time on 3rd down.
Well, they definitely roll, like you said, with that man coverage, especially with Riley Moss, who is currently the 2nd highest targeted corner in the NFL. And 4 out of 5 plays, Riley Moss can look like a lockdown corner. And then that 5th play is usually a bomb for 60 yards. So that's one of the big areas that I've noticed is that big chunk play that you never, ever want to see your defense give up. And also, one thing that I've noticed, the Broncos really don't take the football away. They just get you off the field.
They just get off the field.
That's all it is. They just get you off the field.
And sack your quarterback every single play.
Sack your quarterback a lot. But I think if you can methodically move the football on the Broncos, milk the clock, and then honestly, just make Bo Nix's life a living hell. We'll talk about him later on in the episode.
Yeah, I want to talk about Bo Nix in a second.
You can beat the Broncos defense, and you can absolutely put points on the board.
All righty, before we talk about Bo Nix, Moose, tell the awesome people about our Prize Picks sponsor for today.
Certainly. You and I make decisions every single day, Broncos and Giants fans, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. You don't want to miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Did you know you can now follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one simple click? Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner like Marshall Green, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the brand new feed tab only on Prize Picks. It's very simple to play. Just pick your players in that lineup, pick their stat projections, the more or the less, and then watch your money multiply. You can win up to 2,000 times your cash this football season only on Prize Picks. So here's what you got to do. Go to your app store, click that download button, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Like you, I watched, unfortunately, the game Sunday morning. And
don't remind me.
What is going on with the Denver Broncos defense? As I say that, they'll probably light the Giants up for 30 points this weekend. But that did not look like a unit that was even able to find the road that they want to travel down to have success.
Look, I could make a million excuses for the Denver Broncos offense against the New York Jets. A lot of Broncos fans are split right now, specifically on the channel. Is this a Bo Nix problem? Is this a Sean Payton play calling problem? I tend to believe it might be a little bit of both. I think Sean Payton can get a little too predictable at times, and specifically against the Jets, you got gashed on special teams. You still have a major penalty problem, specifically on the offensive line. Offensive line was absolutely terrible. And then Sean Payton on 3rd and 8, you run a halfback draw play to a fullback, Adam Prentice, and then you punt the ball away. And I sat there and I literally wrote down and tweeted it out. It's the dumbest play call I've seen maybe all NFL season from any head coach. So I kind of look at this, and I have been the one kind of leading the charge on, I think Sean Payton needs to give up play calling. I think he just needs to manage the game right now. Give it to Davis Webb. Give it to Joe Lombardi. Yeah, either way, doesn't really matter. Just take it out of Sean Payton's hands and let him kind of manage the football game, because right now it looks like Bo is one of those, kind of like Caleb Williams, when he's hot, he's playing great. And when he's cold, it's ice cold. So you're getting like the tale of two different halves, specifically against the Eagles, where they lit them up in that fourth quarter.
18 points.
Yes, exactly right. And then you go up against the Jets and you put up a total of 13 points. And it just looked absolutely awful.
There's been games, at least from, and you know better than I do with the Broncos, they've been able to have success. They had success against the Colts. They scored 18 points against the Eagles. When this Broncos offense is rolling and they are clicking, what are they doing and how are they getting it done?
It's J.K. Dobbins, and then a little bit more of J.K. Dobbins. This guy, when he is healthy and when his offensive line is creating holes, he looks like a combination of Le'Veon Bell and maybe just a little bit of Josh Jacobs. Like, it's interesting. He's got a little more quickness than I originally gave him credit for, but he's so patient. His field vision is outstanding. And when the Broncos are really moving the football methodically down the field, it's at the head of J.K. Dobbins getting massive chunk plays on the ground, 5-6 yards per carry, and then Bo Nix rolling out on a play action and just kind of dicing over the middle of the field with Courtland Sutton.
And that's a little bit worrisome for me. The Giants have given up some big plays on the ground this year. You go back to, what was that, week 5 against the Los Angeles Chargers? They gave up a 50-yard run to Amarion Hampton for a touchdown. We've seen other teams break off some runs. Javonte Williams as well. I say this all the time on the Giants channel. I'm sure you say it as well.
Sure.
You got to earn the right to rush the passer. And the way you do that is by getting stops on first down, forcing them into 2nd and long and 3rd and long. The Giants have to find a way to slow down that Denver Broncos rushing attack. And then they have to shore up the back end of their defense. The Giants have run a lot of man coverage as well this year, similar to the Broncos. But last week against the Eagles, they ran a lot of zone coverage because Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. But as Reed Barkus is producing this video wearing a Jalen Hurts jersey. But I'm worried a little bit about the playmakers for Denver. The Giants, the last couple of weeks, have been giving up some big plays in the passing game. Just didn't happen against the Eagles because Jalen Hurts couldn't pass the football past the 15 yards down the field. This group of receivers, as well as Evan Ingram, revenge game, it always happens against the Giants. Courtland Sutton, He's a damn good football player.
Damn good football player indeed. Here's where I will kind of push back a little bit about your concern about the Denver Broncos pass catchers. We have talked all offseason long as Broncos fans about the next guy to take that next step. Is it going to be Marvin Mims Jr.? Is it going to be Troy Franklin? Is Evan Ingram going to be that certified middle-of-the-field guy for Bo Nix? And none of those three guys that I've just mentioned have really taken that next step. It's Courtland Sutton and then everybody else. There's moments like Troy Franklin against the Indianapolis Colts, eight receptions, over 100 yards, a touchdown. But then he just kind of disappears the next game. Evan Ingram has been kind of a non-factor, only recently starting to really pick up his play.
So this is the week.
This is the week, if it was going to be that week. But here's what I will say, and I'll throw it over to you. The Broncos have not played a defensive front seven quite like the New York Giants, specifically with one player in mind who I told Broncos fans is the X factor on that defense, Mr. Brian Burns.
Yeah, Burns is having an unreal season this year for the Giants. Already 7 sacks this year, just one behind the other guy for the Denver Broncos, Nick Benito. A matchup and 2 matchups I'm extremely excited to watch are Brian Burns versus Garrett Bowles, the offensive tackle for the Broncos, having one of the best seasons of all of offensive tackles in the National Football League. And then on the flip side, it's Andrew Thomas versus Nick Benito. It is good on good for both of these football teams. And the formula for the Giants to win football games this year, Moose, is simple. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, and Dexter Lawrence, they got to do their job. And then you need Andrew Thomas on the other side to slow down opposing top pass rushers. This week, it's Nick Benito.
I mean, Producer Reed, if you want to put up that depth chart one more time for me of those Giants edge rushers, this is the scariest thing you've seen all year long if you're a Broncos fan. All 3 of these guys are just absolute studs. So it's going to be an interesting test for the Broncos offensive line, which is down a starter now at that left guard position, to hold their own. Now, on paper, statistically speaking, the Broncos have had one of the best offensive lines in the game this season. However, they have not gone up against the greatest pass rushes. You went up against the Cincinnati Bengals, and Trey Hendrickson was basically a non-factor. You went up against teams like the Los Angeles Chargers, who have a good defense, not the greatest pass rush. So you've definitely played okay defenses. In fact, the best defense you've played all year was the Tennessee Titans with Jeffrey Simmons, and Bo Nix had his worst game of the season, threw almost 3 picks. So it was an awful, awful performance against a good defense, and now you're going up against a much better one. I honestly believe this could be the ultimate test for the Denver Broncos, despite the Giants' record at 2-4. I give you guys a lot more credit. I think you're a much better football team than your record indicates.
2-1 in the Dart era, so starting to trend the right way. Before we bounce out of here, I got a couple questions for you. If the Broncos lose this game, it is because what?
Bo Nix did not play up to his standards. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. We've gotten the tale of 2 Bows this entire season. There's games and moments where he looks like the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, specifically against the Indianapolis Colts, had his best game of the year. That fourth quarter against the Eagles looked like Peyton Manning, shades of John Elway. You name the quarterback, he looked like it. But then it always feels like the very next game or the very next quarter, Bo regresses or just goes all the way back down, specifically trying to make highlight throws. He likes to throw across his body when he doesn't necessarily need to do so. It almost feels like he's trying to prove to everyone that he can be more athletic than everyone gave him credit for. I need Bo to drop back on that 3-step drop, hit his back foot, turn his hips, and just make the easy reads. Rely on your defense, which is outstanding, and just win the football game. I don't need you to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. I just need you to manage the game. Be more like an Alex Smith and get the job done. So that's basically, if the Broncos lose, it's probably going to be because Bo Nix tries to do too much.
And if they do win, how does that look for Denver? And what does that game look like, you think?
Well, it looks like the Broncos had 8 sacks again, and Nick Benito had 3 of them. I mean, when you look at the pressure players for the Broncos one more time, you cannot stop them when they are at their best. I'm just going to put it.
Zach Allen might be the most underrated player in all of football.
Dude, and he gets doubled on almost every play, but you always hear his name. Zach Allen hits the quarterback again. Zach Allen hits the quarterback again. This is a guy that last year had 40 quarterback hits and joined only 5 other players to do so since 2010.
Jeez.
Aaron Donald, the Watt brothers, Myles Garrett, and Nick Bosa.
It's a pretty good list.
So pretty good list to go up against there. But Zach Allen, one of those players that if you let him get to the backfield, he will crush you. Again, it's one of those things that if the Broncos pass rush only can get to you 3 times, 4 times in the game, you might have a shot.
This is what I'm worried about.
Yep.
Zach Allen, the crew you guys have on the front, and I saw this awesome chart on Twitter. I think it was from another Broncos content creator. Jackson Dart has been someone that has looked to create behind the line of scrimmage. As you can see, he's got the highest scramble rate in all of the National Football League at 13+%. 2 guys left to him, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts. The Broncos, they sacked them 15 times in the last 2 weeks. I don't want Jackson Dart to limit who he is, but I also want him to recognize, hey, if you're back there dilly-dallying, Benito, Allen, and the whole crew, they're going to get after you.
Yes, absolutely. And like I told you earlier on in the episode, if you're going to win this football game and if you're going to gash the Broncos, it's over the middle of the field with those quick, deliberate passes, get rid of the ball fast, and rely on Cam Skattebo. It's a guy that found the end zone 3 times against the Eagles. Watching that game, it felt like the momentum shift for Big Blue, going up against the defending Super Bowl champions and just demoralizing them on primetime television. I really believe that with that momentum, with this pairing of Dart and Skattebo, they could give the Broncos a real test, and I'm looking forward to this matchup more than anyone on Sunday.
That's what Giants fans want. They want to see Dart, they want to see Skattebo, and they want to see those 2 guys continue to lead this team in the right direction.
Correct.
I'm looking forward to this one, Moose. I know you are as well. We will both be live on our channels for game day. Go check out the Broncos breakdown. Check out Giants Now by Chat Sports. And if you made it this far in the video, hit that thumbs up icon. For me, Moose, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.